Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this enlightening conversation on what is expected to be a very informative conversation that we will have with Tamara Francis Riley-Dunn, partner at Nelson Brown Guy and Francis. Did I get your name correctly?
100% correct.
Wonderful, awesome. So we'll be talking about the very important issue of caregiver within the legal framework. This masterclass was specially designed for you, our caregivers. We decided to do this because a part of our community are a number of caregivers, a number of the senior citizens who join our program. They become a part of our program because of their caregivers. Their caregivers, but it may be their practical nurses or their children or their grandchildren. They have reached out to us on a number of occasions to say, I want to get my senior loved one out of the home. I want to get them socially engaged in some artistic form. And through that process, we have been hearing your stories as it pertains to the challenges that you are facing as a caregiver. And so we decided to host this masterclass just specially for you so you can breathe as well as to be informed and empowered to take care of your senior loved one even better. And in the wake of Hurricane Melissa, it is even more pertinent and especially important that you are equipped with the right information, that you are able to not only take care of your senior loved one, but to also protect yourself as a caregiver, because we cannot serve from an empty cup. Though we love, we also have to take care of ourselves. So we are indeed grateful to be hosting this masterclass and even more excited to have with us Tamara, who will dig into the legal aspect of what you do, why you do, and the legal proper procedure to offer care to your senior loved one. So, Mrs. Riley-Dunn, thank you so much.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I really love this topic, and this is not typically a topic that is addressed when we're talking about the elderly, even though this is such an important area of their lives. It's commonplace, but we never had this conversation about it, certainly not from a legal aspect. And I welcome this opportunity. Thank you. Bless you for the work that you're doing. And I'm so grateful for this platform and this opportunity to have this discussion with you today.
And we're grateful to have you. We know legal advice is not cheap. So thank you so much for saying yes. You never hesitated when we asked, and so we're happy to have you. So just to get going, can you put into context for us who is a caregiver within the legal framework?
So, a caregiver isn't a legal framework unless you are a paid professional. So, if you're a paid professional, meaning you're a health aide, you're a certified nursing assistant, or something of the sort, then you will be considered a caregiver in that legal concept, right?
Mm.
Because you are offering a service. Think about it the same way as you would, for example, an attorney, a doctor, a plumber, a mason, a mechanic. Those are persons who are professionals offering a professional service. And so the law looks at those persons and treat them in a different way. But that's not the only caregivers that we have. The reality is that the informal caregiver is the most popular, especially in Jamaica and in our cultural concept.
Right.
And those are your children, your partner. So if you have
Mm.
one spouse who is younger and healthier, becomes the caregiver of the other. And
Mm.
then you also have neighbors. the community, church members can even form your informal caregiver community.
Interesting.
So, and let's not forget that trusted housekeeper who you would have had for years, who would
Right.
have been living in and being a part of your family simply because of how long that person has worked with you, can become your informal caregiver.
Thank you so much for giving us that wide, comprehensive definition of a caregiver. So, if I hear you correctly, within the courts of Jamaica, there isn't a legal one straight definition of a caregiver.
No, you're going to not want straight different. So you will have definitions at law for various legal terminologies. What the court is going to look at is what is this person doing for you? And why the court will look at it is because we have something called a duty of care.
Mm.
So biblically, we know it as who is my brother's keeper. And legally, it is called who has a duty of care. Now, we don't impute a duty of care on every single person. Yes? In law, we impute a duty of care based on the relationship that you have with a person. Does this person depend on you for their personal care? Does this person depend on you for health related assistance? Does this person depend on you for emotional support, financial support? And then in that relationship, depending on the facts that come out of it, the court will now impute a duty of care. And if a duty of care is implied or imputed, then that will now give rise to certain responsibilities because you're now entrusted as a caregiver, right? If you're going to use that. So we start first with the dictionary definition of a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look at the facts and circumstances of each case. And remember, I'm really talking about an informal caregiver when we're speaking about that. Because formal caregivers will have contracts and so forth, and you will see a pattern of payment for their services.
Understood. Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're not, those are clear.
Right.
But we're talking about the informal caregiver that might think, I just doing a favor. I'm just being kind. But
Okay.
sometimes in that relationship, you can develop a legal responsibility,
The duty of
the
care.
the duty of care, which will
Okay.
now elevate you to the same status as a formal caregiver with the same responsibilities and accountability. So we have to know these things as caregivers. So
Right.
sometimes, if it's a one-off, so I think we really have to sit a little bit into the definition
Yes.
because we have,
The rules and
yes,
responsibilities that we
and
take on
and what it is.
sometimes.
Because I don't want to scare anybody from helping their neighbor. Because they're going to say, well, Lord, if I go and give Miss Mary a
Mm-hmm.
cup of tea or
Mm-hmm.
a plate of food, then I'm going to be responsible for her. No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is sometimes there is a pattern, meaning that you've assumed responsibility for the day-to-day care of this person without this contract, without you being certified as a caregiver, meaning you go to school and you get your certificate as a nursing assistant or a
Mm-hmm.
health aide, but
Right.
you're performing all of those duties
Mhm.
informally, taking full charge and care of this person, you will may be defined as
Fine.
a caregiver,
Caregiver.
and then this duty of care is now imputed to you, right? And so who are typical? So when we look at the informal, um, I've had a situation where they um there's a housekeeper that was working for years with this lady.
Mm-hmm.
It was she and her husband.
Uh-huh.
and her husband died. And then, she started to ail. And that housekeeper was by her side, tea and toe. And even though she was being paid for her services as a housekeeper, sometimes when it got really bad, she wasn't even getting any pay. And so she would use her
Mm.
savings to care for
Wow.
this person because of the relationship and
Right.
because there was no one else about. No, it would be a very interesting situation. In that scenario, the
Mm-hmm.
court may say, you know what? This lady has now become the caregiver for this elderly woman.
Understood.
Because,
Makes
because,
sense.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
because this lady is totally reliant on this housekeeper for her daily personal care, for the household tasks, that is cleaning, cooking meals. At one point, she was actually going to the bank for her to collect her
Bless their
pension.
hearts. Mm.
Bless her heart. And of course, offering the emotional support because she now became the companion of this elderly lady. So,
Yes.
this now is the real life definition of a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give another scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a situation where an elderly couple or parent will have four children, but only one is the person who comes around, manages the bills, manages the household, deals with carrying you to the doctor, and so forth.
Oh, yes, we have a
Are
lot of those scenarios in our Jamaican culture.
Absolutely. But all four children want to say that they are caregivers. But in law, just for the practicality of it, and again,
Uh-huh.
because each circumstance fact stands on its own set of facts, it is that one who is around that will be
Uh-huh.
seen as a caregiver
That's
for that.
right. Mm-hmm.
Now let us switch that one up a little bit. Suppose it is that the four are contributing financially, but it is the one who is the boots to the ground person who is the caregiver,
Mm.
right? Because it might be a situation that the other three are living overseas and it's only one that's here in
Right.
Jamaica. So for all
Yes.
practicality, that one has to be the boots on the ground.
Mhm.
Who will be considered a caregiver in that
Yes,
situation?
yes, yes.
Right?
This is Riley-Dunn.
So,
Tell us.
so you see, and again, because every situation stands on its own facts, you will have to dig deeper for that kind of scenario.
Right.
How are the decisions made for who that parent should go to the doctor? Is it the four of them gather together and talk about it, make the decision, and then it's the boots on the ground child who then carries? And in that case, it will be all four are the caregivers and not
Okay.
just the one. If
Okay.
all it is that the other three are doing is just sending the money and all of the decision is being made by the boots on the ground person, then that one person who's the boots on the ground would become the
All
caregiver.
right. Boots on the
Okay?
ground. Big up
Boots on the ground.
yourself. That's the
So
caregiver.
I hope
Okay.
I've illustrated enough so
You
that we have an
you
understanding
have.
of who is an informal
Thank you
caregiver.
so much for that in-depth definition as to who is a caregiver. I myself have been empowered by that information and it has equipped me too. So I am able to better guide the caregivers who come to our Golden Designs program in terms
Yes,
of the execution of their duty of care. I learned a terminology during this
that's
conversation.
right.
Thank you so much. So let's now segue into who is a power of attorney and what that
Yes.
means for our caregivers. Oftentimes, that's a
Oh,
term that's just flung around. You know, a caregiver will say, I have the power of attorney, and I am the one that
mm-hmm,
signs the checks, and I am the one who have control of mama and dada bank account.
mm-hmm,
But what
mm-hmm.
does a power of attorney mean when it comes to our courts?
And I love that we're talking about this one. So this is a nice, big, fat, juicy topic. Because again, in Jamaica, we have formal and informal power of attorney. So let me deal with the informal one first. And that really falls under the purview of caregiver. Because a lot of persons will say, look here, I'm the one doing everything. I'm the one going to the bank. I'm the one who's buying the medicine. I'm the one carrying to the bank. Da, 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 da. So I am their agent. And they will define themselves and tell you that they're mama's agent, their dada's agent. But they don't have any paperwork for it. But they have stood into the shoes of being an agent. So those are the persons who are still considered the informal caregiver, and we will still be talking about the duty of care. Now, when you have a formal document, we don't have to ask, is there a duty of care? There is automatically a duty of care that imposes upon you by virtue of this documentation.
Oh.
So the document, the power of attorney, is the formalization of an arrangement between the donor and the donee. Meaning, I am the person who appoints somebody who is going to act on my behalf. I'm authorizing you in a formal way to do this.
All right.
And these formal arrangements is necessary if you're going to talk about bank and hospital. Okay? So, because the banks are not going to accept this is my mother. Of course, I'm in charge of her affairs. No. Or this is a person I've been taking care of. So give me money out of our account.
Formalize the process.
You have to formalize the process. So it is a paper writing document that has to be signed by the person who is appointing you as the agent. And that paper document will tell you what you're authorized to do. So let's get to work.
Yes.
You have several types of power of attorneys. And that's another thing that might blow a lot of people's mind. Really, you have all heap of types of power of attorney. In fact, there are no limitations as to what your power of attorney can be.
Okay.
And what
I'm
cover
sorry.
the timelines
Sorry.
for
Thought the phone was off. Apologies, everyone.
Okay, no worries.
Yes.
So there is no limitation as to what it can involve and where it can touch and concern in your life.
Right.
And also, what is a lot of people need to know is that you can put a time limit on your power of attorney.
Oh.
Or you can put triggers on your power of attorney. Okay? So let's talk about the bank. Because that is also a very practical area. The elderly, sometimes more often, their mobility is affected. And so they can't attend to do they can't manage.
They can't manage
to
the
go and
staircase to go into the bank.
The staircase, they stand up long, they
Mhm.
sit down long because
Yes.
sugar and all sorts of things.
Yes.
And Lord, I can barely manage bank, much less.
Oh, gosh.
It is an all-day affair. So you would want someone to take on that task for you. And a power of attorney is the best way to do it. You know what a lot of people do? They add persons' names to their accounts.
Oh, yes, that's cultural in Jamaica.
Cultural.
And my daughter name or my son name or my nephew name, niece name. Yes.
And here is what I want people to understand. If you add somebody's name to the account, they become part owner of your bank account.
Yes, they do.
So it means that if you have $20 in the account, it belongs to Mary Jane and Paula. Yes? I can't use Melissa name again when I'm doing these things.
Oh, no.
Melissa. So let me use Paula.
Yes.
So you have to remember that at any time, whether it is for you or against you, Paula can go to that bank and draw out every single dollar out of that account if you add her name to that account. But what is also important is that when the good Lord calls for you to go home and your eyes are closed, and you might have done that will, because remember we spoke about wills at a different occasion.
Yes, we did.
If you do your will and you have left the monies in that account to your children or your siblings, or they won't get it
Written
because
in the will, even
written
though
in the will.
it's written in the will.
They won't get it
Yes,
because on your death, Paula becomes the owner of all of the money
that's
in
right.
that account.
The name was added to the account.
The name was added to account. Good. So there are two ways for you to deal with that. If you have to add the person's name to the account, I will say you do a trust deed. But we're going to talk about trust deeds on a different occasion because that's a whole big
Oh,
topic
oh
by itself.
yes.
But I would say for the purposes of this conversation, is that you don't have to add the person's name to the account if you're going to do a power of attorney, because your power of attorney will say, Polo, but their Bank of Nova Scotia or NCB or any of the other banks,
Any of the
Paul,
our credit union
Paul
as well?
credit union as well.
That's
Paula
right.
is hereby authorized for and on my behalf to withdraw from account number XYZ. So
Okay.
what that tells the bank is, one, this person is your formal agent. That's the first thing, the bank. And two, that anything that is being taken from the money from the account must be and can only be on your behalf. Because this money in the account does not belong to Paula. Her access to it is limited only to you. And here's the beauty of what you can put in your power of attorney. You can limit how many times Paula can withdraw from the account, be it once or twice for the month, or you can say every fortnight. And you can also limit how much Paula can take from the account on each occasion, or you can just set a limit. She can take anything up to this amount
Amount. Okay.
every fortnight. So the power of attorney is a powerful mechanism for you to retain control, even though you may be physically incapable of handling your affairs. Okay?
Good.
So that is also, and this is something also that I would recommend for persons who, like, you can be diagnosed with very early dementia, meaning that you have moments of clarity. You can prepare a power of attorney in those very, very early stages, because you know that there's going to come a time that you're going to be incapable, not just because of physical needs, but because of your mental incapacity as well. And so that power of attorney would allow you to give access, control the way that that access is given. And the other type of power of attorney you can do is a medical power of attorney.
Oh, yes. I'm listening out for that
So,
one now.
yes.
But before we
So
go to
you,
medical, one quick
yes,
question. The
sure.
smart thing to do when setting up the power of attorney as it pertains to financial institutions is to get legal advice from Mrs. Riley-Dunn.
That's right.
Not to get a piece of paper at the bank.
No, 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 no. The bank can't prepare these for you because this requires a conversation with you to fully appreciate what your needs are. Yes? And what your support system looks like. And then out of those two variables, we can define something
And
that will
structure.
work for you
Yeah,
and the structure that will work for you.
that's
Yes?
right. So
Right.
get the legal advice.
Get the legal advice. A lot of persons sometimes with these kind of power of attorneys, they would appoint somebody overseas. Don't know about them something there, make no sense. Because the reason for the power of attorney is because you need that boots on the ground person. And so this is also part of the analysis that we offer at our firm, where we are going to look, what is your support system? Yes, you have two children that live in New York, but
Right.
you have probably a sister that lives lives in Jamaica, but she might be way down 2 parishes, 3 parishes, and 4 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to appoint one of those persons as your agent, but maybe for your purposes, you need somebody closer to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or maybe because you're not so bad, these faraway people can work for you. So it's all about where are you?
Yes, the
What are
situation.
your needs?
Mm.
What is your village looking like? And we can craft a power of attorney that is unique to you.
Thank you. Understood. All those who have ears, let them hear. Okay. So power of attorney now as pertains to the medical industry.
Right. And this one is also a big one. And this is something, I mean, I'm so grateful that culturally we're moving away from being scared of talking about bad things happening. I think we are moving away from it. I'm
Right.
getting requests in the office for wills and to assist in terms of
Lovely.
medical situations and planning. No, so let us be real. If you have a family lineage of a particular illness, whether it be cancer, dementia, lupus, whatever it is, plan, plan,
Mm.
because it can get you as well.
Mm.
And part of your planning is that medical power of attorney. So you can put triggers.
Again. Mm.
Yes, you can put in your power of attorney if I'm hospitalized for more than 2 days,
Okay.
if I have to go to surgery, if I am unconscious, if I am da 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 da. If there is a requirement for, you can then detail who should be able to make those decisions
Medical
on your
decisions.
behalf.
Mm.
So, like, for example, Jehovah Witnesses, they do not take blood. You
That's
can
right.
put in your power of attorney, if I am to go to surgery and I am unable to give instructions because you could be unconscious,
Right.
and they would have to ask somebody to make decisions on your behalf,
Mm-hmm.
who would now have a medical power of attorney who would appoint who they should ask in that circumstance. And you detail in your power of attorney, I don't want this, or I do want
All
this.
right.
This is what you are allowed to do. And this is how you tie the bank to
Okay.
circumstances. My agent is able now to access, so this is a trigger. If there is a requirement for surgery, my agent can now access this particular account to draw out the money for the payment of my medical bills.
Beautiful.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So not only to make the decisions to tell the doctor what the
Mm.
options are, but you can also
The,
have
the,
that
the
trigger to
financial
that,
backing to
that is
support the medical
decision.
surgery or right
Yeah,
medical
yeah,
procedure. Mm.
right.
Awesome.
And this is
Awesome.
just your planning.
Yes,
And
yes.
and this is also important for caregivers, just to bring it and tie it all back into
Yes,
caregivers.
yes.
When you take up now the job, this is means that you are part
Mm.
of the planning process. Have these discussions. Mama, what you would have want to? If such and such happen, what would you want to happen?
Right.
And then am I now authorized to be able to do so and so? And then we put that in a power of attorney where the caregiver now has those authority and access based on these particular triggers.
One quick question from me. Can a caregiver be the power of attorney for more than one person's?
Yes, if
Mm.
you want to take on that headache, but you can. There's no limitation as to how many persons you can be agent for.
Okay.
In fact, I have a group of savvy seniors, I call them. It's a group of 4 best friends, and let me tell you, if my friends don't show up for me like that, we don't want them.
You
And
know,
all
you know the
of them
seniors are the best friends.
And it's a group of four, and they're all agents for each other. So one has the three, everyone has the other three. And so
Beautiful.
they understand it's a beautiful community,
Oh my
beautiful.
gosh.
And so even as their attorney, I know who I need to call in the event of an emergency.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Mhm.
That is now giving us as caregivers ideas as to how we can support each other and
Yes,
even us as the younger people, what we can put in place for when we get to that time, because
yes,
we will get to that time. Because
yes.
we know that the Lord will lengthen our years, and so it's important for us to even have this information. My final question, as we bring it back to caregiver, in terms of the power of attorney, can a caregiver be a power of attorney for a specific reason, maybe for financial only,
Yes,
medical only, or for execution of responsibilities, but not necessarily for finance or medical or any other particular duty of care responsibility that may be necessary for a senior?
exactly. And this is why I tell you that the power of attorney is such a powerful tool because you can have different persons in your life playing different roles. So you could have somebody who's your day-to-day caregiver. So that person is responsible for cooking, cleaning, washing, taking care of your daily needs, probably transporting you to hospital. But that's not a person who can access your bank accounts. You have somebody else who's going to access your bank accounts. And they're the ones who are actually going to pay your bills for you. And then you will have somebody else completely who is the person who's going to make those medical decisions for you. So you can have one person can have multiple caregivers in their life, each playing a different role. Because you should know your village, and you know who
Yes. The
who is your
strengths.
village for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
strengths and
Yeah,
weaknesses.
yeah.
Strengths and
I'm not a good house manager. I will say that.
weaknesses.
I'm definitely responsible and absolutely wonderful when it comes to the financial aspect.
Yes, yes, because you
Yes.
see, and then you need to keep good records,
Oh,
please,
yes.
and let me tell,
Grandma taught me that,
yes,
man. Hmm.
oh gosh, and I would say this to caregivers as well, especially if there are multiple persons who will be interested in this person's life. Look, there is no receipt too small for you to save
Hmm.
because the mouth is so quick to condemn,
Yes. And photocopy those
especially.
receipts, please.
Yes,
Photocopy
because
the
they
ink
rub out
with.
after a
Oh,
while.
yes.
And if you know Google Sheets or your Excel
Yes.
spreadsheets, you can
Yes.
use that as well, so that you have a system that allows you to be accountable. It is so easy for somebody to call you a thief and
Hmm.
at the same time praising you. I never forget that before before every crucifixion, there is
Oh, yes. The praise.
the
Hmm.
praise,
Or
the
the
praise.
kiss. Hmm.
That is correct, or the case. So
Hmm.
let us remember that. And I don't know, we need a study to understand how deadlift can change people or
Hmm.
expose people's heart.
Hmm.
So caregivers are talking to you. Don't people will say, what a wonderful job Miss Paula is doing. God bless you, Miss Paula. I couldn't live without you, Miss Paula. Bless the grown that may your cup never run dry. And the moment Mas Joe or Mary J close their eyes, you are the most evilest wicked person that God has ever put on this earth. So make sure that you protect yourself. Be accountable. $2 is entrusted to you. Ensure that you can show the $2 is spent. For those persons who are not getting paid, meaning that you're not a paid professional,
Hmm.
beg you do, take care of yourself. Because if you are hoping, let's be real now, if you are hoping that at the end of the day, the family is going to turn around and give you that house, make we talk the truth. Give you that house or give you that piece of land, it ain't going to happen. It may not happen.
Mhm.
So at the same time, when you're taking care of Mary Joan and taking care of Master Joe, take care of yourself. Save that money. Buy your own. Put down for yourself.
Right.
Do not look. Do not. If you get it, praises. But do not bank and plan. Plan.
Mhm.
Not even if you are promised out of the mouth.
Yes, plan.
Do not book and plan for anything afterwards.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Riley-Dunn, for this conversation. Informative, educational. We could not have had this without you. Mrs. Tamara Francis Riley-Dunn, partner at Nelson Brown, Guy and Francis. Thank you. Thank